You can be fit. You can run every morning, eat clean, maintain a healthy weight, even have normal blood reports, and still suffer a heart attack that no one saw coming. Not because the body suddenly failed, but because something was building silently inside your arteries for years. And here is what most people never understand. Some of the healthiest looking people are actually the ones at highest risk of missing the warning signs completely. I'm Dr. Richard, and what I'm about to explain may change how you think about heart health forever. Because the real danger is not always clogged arteries. It is something far more unstable and far more unpredictable. What a heart attack really is. Before anything else, you need to forget one common idea. Most people think a heart attack happens when an artery slowly gets blocked over time, like a pipe getting clogged. But medically, that is not how most heart attacks happen. A heart attack is usually a sudden event, not a slow blockage, but a rupture inside the artery wall. Let me explain this step by step. Inside your arteries, cholesterol particles can slowly enter the vessel wall over many years. This process is called atherosclerosis. Your immune system sees this buildup as a threat, so it sends immune cells to contain it. Over time, this creates a structure called a plaque, a mix of fat, immune cells, and fibrous tissue. But here is where it becomes dangerous, because not all plaques behave the same. Some plaques stay stable, thick, and sealed, but others become unstable, thin on the outside, under pressure on the inside. And the real danger is not size, it is stability, because when that thin fibrous cap cracks, the body reacts immediately. It thinks an injury has occurred, so it sends platelets to repair the damage. But this repair system becomes the problem. A clot forms rapidly over the rupture, and within minutes, blood flow can be completely blocked. If this happens in a coronary artery, the heart muscle is cut off from oxygen, and heart tissue starts dying very quickly. That is a heart attack, not a slow clog, but a sudden biological emergency. But here is where it gets more important, because now we face a critical question. If plaque can exist silently for years, why does it suddenly rupture at a specific moment? Why not earlier? Why not later? And the answer is not what most people expect, because the trigger is not just cholesterol buildup. It is something happening inside the artery wall at a microscopic level, something that determines whether a plaque stays stable or becomes dangerous. The real driver: inflammation. For decades, cholesterol was seen as the main cause of heart disease, but modern research from institutions like the NIH and Cleveland Clinic shows a deeper reality. Cholesterol is part of the process, but inflammation is often what turns risk into an event. Inflammation is your body's defense system, your internal fire alarm. But when that alarm stays switched on for too long, it stops protecting you and starts damaging your arteries. Inside the vessel wall, chronic inflammation weakens the fibrous cap covering the plaque. It makes it thinner, more fragile, more likely to rupture under stress. Now think about everyday life. Blood pressure rises during stress. Heart rate increases during physical effort. Even emotional shock can release a surge of adrenaline. And if that plaque is already weakened, that moment becomes the trigger. This is why two people with similar cholesterol levels can have completely different outcomes. One may never experience a heart event. The other may suffer a sudden heart attack, because the real difference is not cholesterol alone. It is plaque stability plus inflammation level. The fitness paradox. Now let's address something important. Exercise is one of the strongest protectors of the heart. It improves blood flow, lowers blood pressure, improves insulin sensitivity, and reduces inflammation overall. But here is what most people misunderstand. Exercise is powerful, but it is not an absolute shield. because it cannot erase plaque that may have formed earlier in life. And in some individuals with genetic or metabolic risk, heart disease can still develop silently, even in people who look extremely fit. This is why the illusion of protection becomes dangerous, because when someone looks healthy, warning signs are often ignored. Mild fatigue is dismissed. Small chest discomfort is ignored. Shortness of breath is blamed on stress or aging, until one day there is no warning left. But the real story goes even deeper, because some of the most powerful triggers happen when the body is at rest, especially during sleep. One of the most overlooked conditions is sleep apnea. During sleep apnea, breathing repeatedly stops and starts, often without awareness. Each pause drops oxygen levels, and each drop triggers a stress response. Heart rate increases, blood pressure rises, inflammation increases. Now imagine this happening hundreds of times every night, for years, even in someone who appears fit and active. This creates constant cardiovascular stress. Now add chronic psychological stress on top of that. Cortisol and adrenaline remain elevated. Blood vessels stay under pressure, and over time, this weakens the entire system. Now combine everything: a vulnerable plaque, chronic inflammation, blood pressure spikes, oxygen fluctuations, and you get the perfect setup for rupture, not because the body is weak, but because it is being repeatedly pushed toward instability. Why heart attacks feel sudden? Now everything connects. A person can be fit, they can eat well, they can exercise regularly, and feel completely fine for years. But inside their arteries, a silent process may be unfolding. Plaque formation, inflammation, metabolic strain, stress cycles, nighttime oxygen drops, and then one day, a sudden spike in blood pressure, a burst of adrenaline, a moment of exertion or emotional stress, and the plaque that was already fragile finally ruptures. A clot forms, blood flow stops, and within minutes, the situation becomes life-threatening. This is why heart attacks feel sudden, but medically, they are not sudden at all. They are the final result of a long biological process reaching a breaking point. And here is what surprises most people. Some individuals who suffer heart attacks had no major warning signs at all, because the body cannot directly feel plaque stability changing inside the arteries. It only reacts when the system crosses a critical threshold. By then, the event has already begun. Final message from Dr. Richard. So if there is one thing to understand from everything we discussed, it is this: being fit is powerful, but it is not the same as being fully protected. True heart protection comes from understanding the deeper systems: inflammation control, metabolic health, sleep quality, stress regulation, and awareness of hidden risk factors when needed. Because heart disease does not always announce itself. Sometimes, the first symptom is the last warning. I'm Dr. Richard, and if this changed the way you think about heart health, then don't ignore it. Subscribe to the channel right now, because the next video may reveal another hidden health truth most people never hear until it is too late. And if this helped you understand something important, like this video and share it with someone who believes being fit is always enough. Because sometimes, the most dangerous heart attacks happen in the people who never expected them.